Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rebel Scum podcast. Not podcast, though. We're flying casual today with this guy,
Josh, from the Den of Nerds.
From the Den of Nerds. This is a two-part video, and this is the second part. So if you have not seen the first part, you need to watch the first part right.
It'll be somewhere.
On one side of the screen, you'll see an eye. And if you click on the eye, you will go. There'll also hopefully be a link in the description down there. But we are talking Force Ghosts. The ghostly, like, it's kind of like Bill Cosby.
Oh, no.
And Ghost Dad, but a Jedi.
Okay, thank God.
No, that was not taking that kind of turn. So, in last video, I got to touch on this quickly. As we mentioned, the prequel novelizations,
yes.
And we don't know if they're canon. And we did some digging around, and we spoke to Pablo Hidalgo himself, and we still have no idea.
Well, I think, and my personal thing is, I think this dude slipped up. I gotta be honest here. Like,
you do.
He really did. He basically said, well, we have the tweet right here. He said the Wills and Ghost stuff wound its way into the Clone Wars, which is like Lucasfilm has never come out and said that the Wills in any way or form are in the Clone Wars or in canon, like the shamans of the Wills. He is saying stuff right now. Like, it's just crazy. Like, I don't think he was supposed to say that. And then I called him out. I said, so those are the Wills? And he said, didn't say that. Qui-Gon learned a thing or two from a shaman of the Wills, which, like, once again, I don't think he should be saying that.
No, and he says that the Ghost and Will stuff found its way into the Clone Wars. So,
right.
Like that, I mean, if you look at that at face value, he's saying the Wills are in the Clone Wars.
That's what he's saying. That is literally what he's saying, and I want to know where. Like, where are they?
Binge time. They're on Netflix for another month.
Right.
So we've got time to check it out.
Sure.
I have Netflix Canada, so hopefully we get it longer than you guys. Because
there's a Netflix Canada.
Well, there's a Netflix. I think every because the rights are different in the two countries. So we have The Force Awakens. You do not. We have Ninja Turtles 2 Out of the Shadows. You do not. And you have everything else, and we do not. That's how it works.
Well, Canada, it's my understanding that Canada is way better than America in almost every way, except our Pop-Tarts. Our Pop-Tarts, and I know this because Brock told me when we met down in Orlando that our Pop-Tart game is on fleek.
Yeah, the flavors of food in America, the United States of America, not the Canadian part of North America, they above and beyond. Above and beyond. We have flavorless food over here. No artificial flavors coming its way across north of the border for us. But that's enough talk about that. Let's go back into Force Ghosts. When you first decided to take a bathroom break and come on to the Rebel Scum half of the Den of Nerds video, we were talking Qui-Gon, Jinn, and his learning from the Wills. Could he interact with Obi-Wan? We agreed that he could. After all that said and done, anything you want to add to that first half to bring people back into the second half of the video?
Well, I mean, we just didn't get the confirmation from Pablo that the Wills, not only is Snoke a Will, but that the Wills are in the end of the Clone Wars movie, and they're wearing those masks, and those are the Force priestesses. So now that Pablo has let this big slip out, thanks to James, actually, we got to give all the credit in the world to James, because you tricked him. You tricked Pablo Hidalgo into giving out a huge nugget of information. But in all seriousness, no, nothing really to add. I think that was a really good part one. So yeah, like, honestly, if you haven't, that video is up on my channel. Go check that out. We talk about the training, like how does the Force Ghost work, the training of that and everything. Very, very interesting. Now we're talking about the future and where the Force Ghosts might come into play in The Last Jedi and in Episode 9 and beyond that. So yeah, let's do this thing.
Oh, Pablo Hidalgo just got back and said the Will stuff, what Qui-Gon learned from a shaman, they are not in the series. So he just backpedaled. Backpedaled crazy all the way. Yeah, you created but that's actually a response to yours. Sorry, we're going into Force Ghosts. We're
Yes,
Sherlock Holmes this whole
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Right
We're totally trolling this, man. It's
now.
awesome.
Well, we're trying to. Really, we want answers so we can give everybody out there watching answers. That's really what we want more than anything. Qui-Gon is the first Force ghost, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ish.
Technically, he's not. Yeah, technically, he's not a Force ghost.
Yeah,
he is the first person to know of the shaman training, which is pretty cool.
Do you think? Because I want to talk about this character a little bit. That Mace Windu could at some point learned of this as well, maybe, but not shared that information with Yoda or anyone else, because we know that Mace Windu was a very dark Jedi. He dabbled in the dark arts somewhat a bit. He has that purple lightsaber, which, because of the way he could balance himself, and he used a lot of the dark side more than any other Jedi did. What do you think the chances of Mace Windu finding his way into Force Ghost territory, or some aspect of the wills, maybe even transcending Force Ghost into something else? What do you think? There's a possibility there. We know Samuel L. Jackson wants to come back.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the only big flaw in him being a Force Ghost is that he's not dead. He's alive, right? So according to Sam and according to George, he's alive. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah. But in all seriousness, this is kind of an interesting thing. So I think that this will kind of take us into a nice place. It is possible that every single Jedi that died, and presumably every being that ever died, is with the Jedi in the cosmic force. With the wills, they are in the cosmic force. So is it possible that they have find their way back? Yeah, because, I mean, that's what Qui-Gon did, right? So we really don't know how much Mace Windu learned outside of the Jedi Order. Like you said, he had that really interesting and unique form where he was able to utilize dark side energy and let it flow through him without being corrupted. And I've heard a ton of cool theories that are like, that's why he beat Palpatine. That's the only way he was able to beat Palpatine, was that his specific form, which the Jedi didn't teach him that. He had to learn that elsewhere. So is it possible that on his coffee table at night, he had a little journal of the wills action and he was, doing some Twilight reading upon the recommendation of Master Qui-Gon? 1,000%. That would be really, really cool. So, yeah, I mean, to answer your question directly, yeah, man, I think it's possible.
Yeah, I totally down. We know the thing too is he showed up at Celebration video message, but it was pre-recorded. It wasn't a live call-in by Samuel L. Jackson. I'm talking about Samuel L. Jackson, not Mace Windu, a fictional character. Right. Samuel L. Jackson made a video and sent it in, and in the video he says he's still alive, and it's ha ha ha. Everyone has a good time with the laugh. It's a good joke. Yeah, he's still alive. But Lucasfilm could say, hey, don't mention that stuff. We don't want you to spread these rumors. We don't want people to think that you're still alive. We don't want this or that. But they're totally fine with him saying it. He says it multiple times. He said it without their permission, obviously. Now he said it with their permission.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And now, this again, we said this in the first half of the video, where I think an Obi-Wan film where we see him learn about how to become a Force Ghost would be really cool. But now, could we have a Mace Windu similar style of film maybe take place? Or maybe even Mace Windu is in the Obi-Wan film, which would be a cool twist, I think, on everything about that.
Yeah, it's possible. I think we're fanboying out just a little bit because,
it's based on Samuel Jackson's fanboying out. That's
yes. Oh, and actually, it's funny. As you were talking about this, I was thinking about it in my head. I was like, well, who are the two guys that sent in videos that they showed? They were Qui-Gon and Mace. So you might be onto something. I'm sorry. What was the question again? I'm zoning out. I'm thinking of Pablo.
Could Pablo Hidalgo be a Force Ghost?
He better be. He better be.
He totally is.
You know what? He could be a Force Ghost looking right at you and convince you that he's not.
I love
he's got a silver tongue.
I love that his profile picture is still him with the canon from Celebration that he made canon on the last day. No, the Mace Windu, could he show up? Could he just show up in an Obi-Wan film? Is that what we're going to see?
That's the question. Yeah, that would be cool, man. And my thing is this, though. If he shows up, then all bets are off. Any Jedi could show up. So are we looking at a thing in Last Jedi where Luke is in a sea of Force Ghosts, where presumably, what if all Jedi ever are on that planet, and it's this creepy graveyard Pirates of the Caribbean type thing where all these Force ghosts are hanging out, and that's why he's there. I mean, like, what do you think about that?
That would create some very cool visuals. It would be that would be an intriguing way for Luke to learn the ways of the Jedi fuller and in a more fleshed out way than he learned from Obi-Wan. That would give you the history. That would be like the ultimate history class would be in there, and you'd have the first Jedi, the last Jedi, the middle Jedi. You could definitely see how it goes on. I think, though, when we talk about this in The Last Jedi, if we are to see Force Ghosts, the only ones that really make sense are Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Anakin.
Right.
Because they're the only ones that we've known to exist, and they're the only ones that Luke has known to exist until this point. Now, we go back, we learn that there was a whole Jedi Council with all these crazy-looking, cool Jedi on it, and we learn that they all died. We knew that they all died before, but now we've learned that they've all died. And Qui-Gon kind of learned how to come back and become a Force Ghost, and he trained Yoda and Obi-Wan. And if Mace Windu, let's just say, go back to them and say he somehow was able to do this, but Qui-Gon's not able to take a physical form, though, right? So maybe Mace Windu is not able to take on this physical form. So it's just
voices, yeah.
So it could just be voices, which is another thing that Brock mentioned, I think, on like our second or third show we ever did. It's not even on YouTube, this show. This is when we were just on SoundCloud. And he said, what if Rey, when she meets Luke, thinks Rey's crazy? Because he's talking to these voices that she can't see.
Yeah, you guys touched that again in your most recent podcast. Yeah. I love that idea. Yeah, I really do. I think that would be great. And I think this is something we talked about maybe off air or something, but I would love for Luke's agenda and the Force Ghost's agenda to be different. For like them to be, because what if because everybody thinks that that's Yoda on that pillar that's training Rey. What if it is? What if the Force Ghosts are training Rey and Luke's just sitting there like, get off my lawn? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. That would be amazing. I'd love for some kind of drama like that. And also like Anakin, Anakin as a Force Ghost. If I'm Anakin as a Force Ghost, I'm Audi 5000 because I don't want to be talking to these guys like Yoda and Kenobi. Like, can you imagine Kenobi just being like, "Hey, how about that high ground, though?" You know what I mean? Like, just
that's Anakin on the rock. He wants to be as high up as possible.
Exactly. So, like, I don't know, bro. That's very, very interesting. But they're not going to go away, right? So, like, even if Luke wants to like end the Jedi and all of that, the Force Ghosts are not going away. On a total side of Akbar too, what do you think about this thing where, remember when old Ben says, if you go to face Vader, I can't interfere? What's up with that? Like, are they not able to project when there's dark side energy around?
I think there's a video on YouTube that actually deals with that, and I believe I watched it, and I have no recollection of it anymore. There has to be a reason why Ben can't, but it could just be because they can't interfere with fate. Perhaps maybe they can't interfere with the future. They can see it, they can sense it, but they can't control it, and they can't, or maybe they can't really see the future. They can see far, but they can't see all the way. They can't see answers to questions. I don't think so.
Well, always in motion, the future is.
Yeah, exactly. So. But Palpatine could see the future up until his death. So the
shatter point. Remember, he's like, because in Aftermath and stuff, they talk about the shatter point, and that's one of my favorite things from Legends too. I love in the Old Republic book, they think that this one kid could be the shatter point. And just for the Cash fans that don't know, so a shatter point is the thing that is such a It's like a clouded. Okay, so here's the best way I can talk about it. A shatter point would be the same thing as when Dr. Manhattan in Watchmen cannot see the future, because he can see everything, but then the future around what he thinks is a nuclear war, he cannot see. So his vision, that would be a shatter point. So like if you're Palpatine, you can see everything until a point. That's what they call a shatter point. So that's why Palpatine has the contingency. That's why he meets with Gallius Rax over Endor and is like, are you ready to be the outcast boy? You know what I mean? And stuff like that, because Endor, he knew, was a shatter point. Luke is the shatter point. So sorry, I had to go off on a little tangent there, but.
Okay, so we're talking about Force Ghosts for all of you. That just for some reason, like you just changed our YouTube channel and you came in and we're halfway through this conversation, because that's how YouTube works, right? You put on the UHF dial, And then
that's how I do it.
I have to get the bunny ears going, and then I can find the right static of YouTube.
Yep, and then the tracking and all that. Yeah,
exactly, the tracking.
And there's those one YouTube channels I can't get, and they're scrambled. And...
they're all scrambled. They're the legal ones.
Yep.
Yeah, no issues with that. I think that's for me though. I like the idea of not every Jedi is able to become a Force ghost. I like the idea that it's just those 3 now. And I really, like I said, I don't want Anakin to be an evil Force ghost. He's not an evil Force ghost. He had his evil, but I do want this new trilogy to revolve around Anakin Skywalker. And I don't know. I'm not even sure to what degree or not, but I want him to be the key to it all. I've said that numerous times on the podcast. I want Anakin to be the center of it. It's a Skywalker saga. What if the Skywalker saga is actually Anakin Skywalker? It's not the family name, it's Anakin Skywalker. And so we start with Anakin becoming the Jedi, and then we end with I don't know what, but we end here, right? We have the rise and fall of Darth Vader, we have Luke, but it all hinges on Anakin Skywalker.
Well, yeah, I totally agree. I mean, they found a really cool way with Kylo and with the way they designed his character and his fanboyish love of his grandfather. They found a really cool way to have Vader loom over the new trilogy. Like, he absolutely looms over this thing. So I think that's really interesting. You know what pops off to my mind, though, is why did the Force ghost of Anakin never explain to his grandson what happened? Like, so Kylo doesn't know that Vader is his grandfather, and I actually kind of like the idea that maybe even if young Ben knew that Uncle Luke was talking to Anakin, that he didn't realize that Anakin was Vader. Like, that could be cool, but why did he not put that together? Like, he's an absentee ghost grandfather, and that kind of bugs me a little bit.
Unless for some reason Ben's not able to communicate with Anakin, and perhaps, well, we know through Bloodline that that's when everybody discovers the Anakin was Vader, was Leia, Luke's father, and that's presumably what's going to turn Ben part of the way, is that lie that Luke had on him, which I don't like that lie. I don't like Luke lying so much. We said this in a video that didn't get recorded. Has he not learned anything from the original trilogy? Has Luke learned nothing at all? The original trilogy spells everything out for him. He totally accepts it in the original trilogy. He grows, he learns. He doesn't fall the way his father falls. He finds out that the power of his family, of his love, is more powerful than the Force itself. He throws away his lightsaber. Vader, at that point, turns back to Anakin, kills the Emperor, and then Luke is like, well, you know what? I'm going to start this all over again because I don't know why.
I think that he's lying to... Look, he's probably... What if it's his mom, right? When the kid goes to stay with Uncle Luke, the mom probably gives him some instructions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Leia's like, yo, Luke, don't tell Ben about Vader. And they might have had a little fight about it. Luke might have been like, but he turned. He was good. And Leia might be like, he's not ready for that. Or whatever. And that's her kid, right? So maybe Luke's like, okay, fine. You know?
There's also the possibility that maybe Luke just didn't lie, just didn't say anything, period. Just didn't bother mentioning it because he didn't think it was important to bring up.
That's true. I mean, that's a fair point. I'll say this, though. I think you have said before that you don't like... Oh, yeah, you made a point in one of your videos where you were like, well, I don't understand how him learning that makes him go dark side. You equivocated it to if you were Hitler's grandson. And then or maybe it was Brock that made this point. And you're like, oh, Hitler was my grandfather. Time to go Hitler it up, I guess. You know what I mean? But I actually think somebody did this video years ago, and I loved it. And it was this idea that, like, if you get in the head of Ben, think about this. How could he possibly live up to Luke? He can't. Like, if you look at Luke accomplished incredible things. He did what he set out to do. He's Gandhi. He's a warrior. He's everything. You're always going to be in the shadow of Luke. Now, when you look to Vader, you're also always in the shadow of Vader, except for one crucial difference. Vader did not finish the mission that he set out to do. Luke did. So if you are the grandson of Darth Vader and also Luke Skywalker's your uncle, in your own head, if you're looking for your own way to be great and to have that, because you're a Skywalker, so if you want that acclaim and that prestige, you're not going to do it by going down the light side. You'll never be as good as Luke when it comes to the light side, but you can be as dark as Vader, and you can also complete that mission that Vader started, which is, we see that in The Force Awakens. I'll finish what you started, grandfather. So I think that is where his head went. It wasn't so much that he was like, well, I want to be evil as hell now. It was more like, well, I have the opportunities to solidify my own destiny by finishing what Vader started.
I like that. And that was definitely a Brock comment. I don't think I would. I don't go into history too much.
Yeah. Damn you, Brock.
I do. I like that idea that he went with the dark side is easier to possess, and that would make sense. The easier thing to do would be following his grandfather's footsteps, who he thinks was an ultimate failure, but actually was a huge hero.
Sure.
At the end of it all, like he became a villain for 3 movies, but he was a hero for.
And
4.
Kylo knows that. That's what's really interesting. So in the novelization, because that was one of the things when I'm watching the movie, you're putting together your own headcanon and things like that. And I was like, dude, he has no idea Vader turned back. But that's not true. Because in the novelization, Snoke is like, you and I know what ended the Empire. It was sentiment. And they're talking about Vader's mistake.
And that's the thing. The sentiment is more powerful than the Force as a whole. And so Snoke is hiding that emotion, that strength from Kylo to get him to only see light side and dark side. And maybe that's what Luke is going to be trained. And we all kind of speculate on this, though, that Luke trains Rey using both sides of the Force. But what if it is sentiment? What is using your love for your friends, for Finn, going back and helping Finn when he's in need? Maybe that is what propels you to become more powerful of a Jedi. And because the Jedi Order was suffocating that within Anakin, that's what made him be like, well, the only person that's letting me do it is the dark side, so I'm going to go do it. Whereas if Yoda said, you know what, use your love. It doesn't lead to pain, suffering. Just take it. You could deal with it. Maybe that's what it was.
It could be. So straight up, let me ask you this. Do you think that we will see Anakin Force Ghost in Episode 8?
No. I really do. But I have to say no based on. I want to say yes. I want him to. I think.
Oh, of course, yeah. I want him to
say,
as well.
I don't want to say I think he needs to be there, but I don't know if they think he needs to be there, and I don't know if the story needs him to be there, and I don't think that everything we've learned. I think they want us to think he'll be there because of Hayden Christensen at Star Wars Celebration and all of that. I think they want us to think that he's going to be there. But what purpose will he serve being there? Right. And like you said, where was he already? And
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what bugs me, right? But I love the idea. Oh, my God. I would love the idea of Luke and his father. Like, because here's the thing. Luke saved Anakin. He saved him. That we can't, like, dude, I get so emotional every time I watch that. He saves his father. It's very, very cool. But what if now it's Anakin's turn? Luke's grumpy old man. Yeah. What if we get Force Ghost Anakin being like, son, you can't run away from this. You have to help your nephew. You know what I mean? Like, I can't be there for him. And then Luke can obviously be like, well, he's doing all your shit, Dad. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Do you think that would happen in 8 or 9? Like, could 9 be the moment where Anakin steps out of the shadows and says, son, I wasn't there for you.
I will freak out. Oh, my God. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. That would be awesome. Yeah, because you're probably right.
You hide him in 8 and you bring him back in 9.
Yeah.
And wouldn't it have sucked, though, if that was the reunion was going to be Anakin, Luke, and Leia in 9, and that was like the big reunion they were going for in that. I mean, you can't help what happened, but that could have been a great reunion. One that would have been remembered forever in cinema for sure.
True. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting thing. I hope he's in there. You're probably right. He's probably not in 8. Hopefully in 9. But I'd really like to see. I want to see him and Ben talking. You know what I mean? Like, and here's another thing that's very interesting. what the hell is Kylo seeing? When he says, "Show me again, grandfather," what the hell is that? Like, what's going on there?
I feel like he had, when he got that helmet for the first time, he probably had
Force back?
Force back, much like Rey,
Sure.
but dark side. But it might even, this Force back might not have been a legit Force back. It may have been manifested by Snoke. And Snoke could have played it into his mind, like, "Oh, this is what you're seeing." Is like, and it could have been all the truth. It could have been, but he kept certain things from it and then showed the weakness at the end, that when he turned weak, that's what ended up killing him, maybe even, is that sentiment is what killed Vader, not the Emperor. He doesn't use sentiment to show that the Emperor was killed by it. He shows that it was what killed Vader in the end, because that's actually what kills Vader too, is the love for his son.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, actually, you just reminded me of something that I was going to bring up in part one, but I thought it would be better here. So in part one, we were talking a little bit about how Yoda is able to watch over Luke, and we were like, well, is it through the Force, or is it through Obi-Wan? Well, here's what's kind of cool to me is, so Yoda's able to do that and just watch over things. Let's just say through the Force or trainings of the wills. This is important, that through the training from the wills, he's able to do this. Snoke is able to do the same thing. And we know this because the only people that know that Vader killed the Emperor are Luke, Anakin, and Leia. And Leia didn't know firsthand. She's taking her brother's word for it. So the only way that Snoke knows that, and we know that he knows that, is through a similar type of observation, which could lead us to believe that he's a will.
And you know where I stand. I think he is a will. He's a fallen will. He's much like Satan or something like that.
Yes.
He was like, and then he fell, and he's no longer. He's not a will per se anymore, but he's like a fallen angel. He is a will, but he's not a will, and he's on that path. That's where I think Snoke lies, and I think that makes him more intriguing. But again, we talked about this again. I like that idea where he could be a fraud, where he could know that a being like that exists, and he's taken upon himself to become that individual in this galaxy, and using the black kyber crystal. Everything just works out so well.
I know. Right.
Yeah.
Let me just ask you this too. So we've kind of established that we don't think we'll see Anakin Force Ghost, which is totally fair. But what about Obi-Wan Force Ghost, and what about Yoda in Episode 8?
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
I think so too. I do. Yeah. I think it just makes sense. Like,
everybody
would be weird.
Wants it. Yeah, they've asked Frank Oz not to talk about it, which I speculated that perhaps that means he's not in it. Like, maybe they're like, if you don't talk about it, people will think that you're in it, and that's. But I think
dude, no way. That answer he gave was so like, I'm in it, but I can't tell.
Yeah,
you.
I know.
It's literally what he said. Exactly,
but at the same time, if you're not in it and you want people to think you are, you would say the same thing. I think they don't have to be, but they have to be, because they're at the end of Return of the Jedi. So Luke has some kind of connection with them. Whether or not they're on Acto is a different thing altogether. Maybe they're not on Acto, but if Acto is the first Jedi temple, then why wouldn't they be there? And I think they have to be in this movie at some point, and it might only be for a brief millisecond, but they're both in The Force Awakens technically. This one, we're going to see their physical forms, and we're all going to get giddy in the theater and jump for joy.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree. I think they need to be in there. I think it would just be weird if they're not in there. There was all those rumors that Yoda was at the end. Yoda was standing next to Luke at the end of The Force Awakens. You even see Luke kind of look to his side real quick before he turns around. And, JJ probably took that out because JJ hates Star Wars. But it's...
I want that T-shirt. JJ hates Star Wars.
Look, I love The Force Awakens. Look, you and I have talked about this. We love that movie, but like Ryan's the guy. You know what I mean? Ryan's the guy. He's the one. So
wait till you see my video with Andrew. I think I'm gonna get a lot of hate mail from people.
Oh, for real?
It's totally Rian Johnson's the guy. It makes the most. I think I say this on episode 41 with Brock. He's definitely the guy. He comes from the same background as George Lucas, essentially, and he understands Star Wars. J.J. Abrams understands spectacle, lens flares, and explosions. The thing that J.J. Abrams does the best, though, is he got $2 billion worth of ticket sales into the theater to watch the movie, and that is
he's the
good.
perfect guy. He's the perfect guy for it. It's like, look, this is the way I look at it. It's like, look at Lost. Great start. That's about it. So, like, honestly, that's why he's the perfect guy for it. Great start, and then hand it to someone else.
Hand it to someone else, and now, if Rian Johnson did the first one, we would have, but like the average fan might not have taken it to the same because they want that. They want that. And I always say, if there's a scale, J.J. Abrams is closer to the Michael Bay side of the scale. He tips more towards Michael Bay. Say what you want. He's not all the way Michael Bay. Don't get me wrong. But if there's a scale between Michael Bay and like David Fincher, he's totally on the Michael Bay side, right?
Yep.
So, but that gets your butt in the seat, and then you enjoy it because you have a good time, because his movies are they're safe, they're fun, they're family entertainment. You're like, oh my God, that was a great time. There's no harm in these films. So now you're going to go see the next one, and then Rian Johnson can say, well, guess what? Here's really what Star Wars is. Here's what this is. And you know what? People aren't going to like it. It's probably going to be, I'm really banking on it being the best Star Wars film to date as a whole. But I'll bet you half the people that love Force Awakens won't enjoy this one as much.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I think the point we're making is that when these guys die, and hopefully it's not for a very long time because we love them both, but JJ will not come back as a Force ghost, and Rian Johnson will. And
we'll be speculating whether or not he'll be talking to Bray.
Yes, and that's the thing. Yeah, for sure.
Bray is the new. How old? Do you know how old Rian Johnson is?
No. I mean, he's probably up there, but I mean, like, he looks like he takes care of himself, so he'll probably be around.
He looks like he's between 20 and 45.
Yeah, exactly. He's got that kind of a look going on.
Yeah,
it's
like, I can't do your turn. You look like you're 20. Now you turn, you're 45. I can't figure you out, man. But he's that one hell of a director. I can't wait for this.
Oh, dude, I can't think of it.
And if anyone can get, like, they say that he got a performance out of Carrie Fisher like you wouldn't believe. And if you saw The Force Awakens, she does not give the best performance in The Force Awakens. It's just, and whatever. I'm sure she would have admitted it if she could have. And she came in, she said her lines. We all love her because she's Princess Leia, so you don't think too much about it. But it's not the best. So if she's able to give a good performance in this one, kudos to him. And then if he can get a good performance out of her, I'm sure he could do the same with Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen from prequel era. As good as Ewan McGregor is, he does have he has some of the worst deliveries in the prequels as well.
Hello there.
When you watch him. Hello there. And I always say Hayden Christensen, I back him up on this, where his performance is very much, he's dialogue.
It's Vader.
It's Vader.
Like,
it's
literally
so I that's why I'm like, I don't really, when I said this with Brock many times now, and everyone's probably bored of it, but I rewatched those things on VHS, the original trilogy on VHS. And nice. It was the first time, well, it's because my in-laws only have them on VHS and they wanted to watch it. It was the first time though I watched it, and it was the first time I ever pictured Anakin Skywalker as Darth Vader. And it wasn't because I tried to, it just, for some reason, I was able to picture Hayden Christensen in the whole getup with his voice coming out as with the Vader effect, and I totally bought it.
Dude, someone should take a lot of the lines that Hayden says and just put like a James Earl Jones filter over them, because I think they match up perfectly. Like, you will try, you know what I mean? Like, imagine that in Vader, like, you will try, you know what I mean? Like, it sounds Vader. That's him.
Yeah, and the first time was like, yes, my master. I'm like, that's exactly how James Earl Jones says it. Only now he's a human. So the first time I think we all saw it, we wanted that fun bounce back, but that's not who Anakin is ultimately anyway. I think I think we all want Anakin to be this, and which is the problem I have with fanboys as a whole, not the movie, but with fanboys as a whole, is we all want this, and then when it's not this, we can't understand, we can't accept it for what it is. But one thing actually that brought me to this point is Force Ghost, Obi-Wan and Anakin. Would you love to see them bantering and bickering like old friends again?
Oh yeah, it'd be amazing. I mean, yeah, that's another, that's like the weird part. Like I said, like if I was Anakin, I'd be out of there, right? But it would be interesting to see how they reconcile that, because you gotta kind of think about this too. This is not the same Obi-Wan either. I mean, like, dude, I think that episode Twin Sons on Rebels is so telling, because he did not want to kill Maul, and he closes his eyes, holds him in his arms as he's dying. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do that. He had no choice. He had a duty. You know what I mean? And like, I think that this dude is like operating on another level, and he's so close to being with the cosmic force that, like, at the end of A New Hope, like when he just puts up the noble sacrifice and just fades off into the Force. Like, I truly believe that he felt bad for what was across from him, his old Padawan. You know what I mean? Like, because he's just on that kind of wisdom level. So it would be cool to see them kind of reconciling that. The question becomes, though, how wise is Anakin? Because I don't see a lot of wisdom coming from Anakin or late Vader. I mean, it's hard to imagine that he has much to bring to the table. And would they not be angry with him? You know, like...
Well, I think, okay, to that point, yeah, dead on with Obi-Wan, and I don't think Anakin is that wise. I think he's like, for a hockey reference, he's the Wayne Gretzky. He's just gifted in what he is. He can't explain how to do it. You know, he's amazing. He is what he is, and he can't figure it out. So he doesn't understand what's going on. He doesn't even understand how he got to the dark side. I don't think. I think he just went down this rabbit hole, and this is where he ended up. And then I really like what you brought up, where he was going to become a Force ghost no matter what. And so that happens. But I think Yoda and Obi-Wan both respect the fact that Anakin was the chosen one. It was not everything that happened wasn't his fault. That's right. The way it was meant to be. And the Force was balanced when it was all said and done. Or it's not balanced.
Right.
And that's where he becomes the key again. And maybe he, as a Force ghost, has left. He's put himself in exile now. And they're like, look, the key is Anakin. We need Anakin to come back and blah, 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 blah. And he is what we need. You, Luke, need to find your father. Your father is the answer to the question, to the riddle of Snoke or something like that. And
right.
that's how you bring him back as a chosen one. Because I know Obi-Wan refers to Luke as the chosen one in Rebels. And apparently our good friend Pablo Hidalgo stated that he actually was incorrect in saying that.
Yeah, he believes that to be the case, but he's wrong. Yeah.
So if Anakin's still the chosen one, I think it would be really cool if Anakin is the key to this next trilogy, and that's what you're keeping away. And I said this in a video a few months ago where Anakin is the Last Jedi.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe Luke never became a full Jedi. Obi-Wan and Yoda kind of stopped being Jedi, and when Anakin returns to form, he is the last actual Jedi. It's a possibility.
No, definitely possible. I've also liked the idea that maybe the connection, because remember that I've heard JJ say before that The Force Awakens is literally referring to the fact that like the Force as a power had been kind of dormant. And one of the things that's really cool is like apparently in the new Guardians of the Whills novel, which by the way they're saying has huge implications for canon, but they're saying that Baze Malbit was Force sensitive and he lost his Force sensitivity because he lost his faith. And so if the entire galaxy has lost its faith per se, maybe all the Force ghosts can't exist anymore because the Force was asleep, right? But if Rey awakens the Force, then what if the Force ghosts enter Episode 8 not because of Luke, but because of Rey? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I like that a lot. You know what I liked? I liked when they said that the Force Awakens referred to the Force waking up in people, and it was just gonna be people who are gonna wake up and they were gonna have these powers. I like that idea. I like that Rey kind of awakens this new Force, and then the old Force ghosts can now show. I really like that.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
Can we just call these segments, is it December yet? Because it's like, remember when it was supposed to come out like next week? Do you remember when the original?
And they could have. Apparently they can. Apparently it's done.
I think what they're doing is very smart though. I think I'm not sure about Han Solo and 9 in May, but I think give them time. Figure this one out. Make it the perfect length. Get all the effects perfect. Win that special effect Oscar. Get it all lined up perfectly. Then you have all December I think December's perfect. I got used to Star Wars in December. Yeah, my dad's birthday is December 20th, and so he's actually looked forward to going to see it for his birthday. And he got disappointed when I told him that the next one's not December. He's like, "What? What about my birthday?" I said, "Look, they don't care about your birthday, Dad."
Dude, you know what they're gonna do? I'm calling it right now. They're just gonna re-release in December. They're gonna put it in May, and then towards December, they're just gonna re-release it and literally put it back in theaters, and it will crush most things that are out in December, anyways.
You don't think they want that Blu-ray sale for Christmas?
Dude, I think that's a fair point. Maybe they'll do both.
Yeah, that's true. I would go see both.
I'd buy it on Blu-ray as I'm on the way to the theater.
You know, I got the iTunes of Rogue One because I was like, I'm not gonna.
I have it on
I'm
Google
gonna,
Play. Yeah.
I was like, I have it on Google Play too. But I was like, I'm gonna not. I didn't buy it on both. But I was waiting, and then I think the day before it came out, I was like, oh, I just want to watch Vader, and I typed it in and I bought it at midnight. It's like, you have a movie. I'm like, Vader scene, go. Yeah. And then Andrew on our channel, he does not do digital copies of anything.
What?
Yeah, he only does Blu-ray stuff or maybe VHS. And so I said, hey, can I have your digital copy of Rogue One? So nice. I got it and I threw it on because now I have it on Google Play and iTunes, so I can watch it on any TV I'm at.
Nice.
Oh man, so yeah, I would probably go see it in the theater and then buy it as well because that's who I am.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of families that would go see Star Wars for Christmas time. I think that's just the jam.
That's what I love though. Like Harry Potter was a Christmas thing. I didn't like it when they brought it into the summer. And then Lord of the Rings was such a perfect you're like Lord of the Rings, Christmas time, let's go. Now you have Star Wars, and it's a little bit different than those, but it kind of became that where it's like Star Wars and Christmas synonymous with each other. I'm like, I like it. This is the time that I want to go. And now you're going to make me go in May. And I haven't seen Guardians 2 yet. I mean, maybe when this is posted, I have, but I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen what just came out. The movies that came out that didn't make any money. I haven't seen those ones either. So now there's a snowball effect of movies I have to go see. And so I'm going to have to start picking and choosing which ones are going to be. And to make you happy, I will be seeing Guardians because I know you don't like it. That's a must.
It's not terrible. And here's what's weird, not to go off on a side Akbar, but I need to see Guardians again because I've heard from a lot of people that the second viewing's much better because you know what to expect.
Yeah, that's probably...
And that's the problem with the first viewing was like, it just was not what I wanted.
We talked about it on the Nerdy News Hour where I thought, James Gunn is great, but did he need that anchor of another writer to kind of... I don't even know how many people wrote it, but, like the first one, the first draft wasn't him, it was somebody else. And it was a different voice, and he came in and added his voice. And sometimes that works better than you just having carte blanche on what you want, as the prequels will attest to.
Yep.
You got that.
I agree.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm back to December. Don't be a Force ghost in May. That's how we get back.
Nice. That's a beautiful segue.
All right. So, we do a thing, top fives to end all of our shows up on this channel, on the Rebel Scum channel. About top 5 Force ghosts you would like to see realistically appear. I'm throwing you on the spot here. This wasn't planned. But 5 Force ghosts that you would like to see realistically. So no Kit Fisto.
I've got.
You Kit Fisto.
Actually, I was gonna do Kit Fisto, dude.
You could do Kit Fisto.
No, you've ruined everything. Master. So I think Master Luminara would be cool. Nice. Yeah, she's awesome. So I'll give her my 5 spot.
All right, my 5 spot will be Sifo Dyas.
Oh, dude, that'd be brilliant. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah, I think there's a big chunk of story that they could do with him, and I would love to see that play out. And then he could even answer questions that we have about Attack of the Clones.
True.
That we never answered that. My number 4 would be Master Windu. They're all gonna get easy from this point on.
Yeah.
I want to see Windu again because as much as I like him in the prequels, he could do more.
Yeah, that's true. And
he could even teach Rey how to balance the dark side and the light better than anybody.
That's
probably.
True. That's very true. Yeah. My number 4, dude, this wouldn't happen, but I would like to see Dooku.
Ooh,
but you know what I mean? Like that'd be tough because that'd be another like he's dark and then he comes back sort of thing.
Yeah, I would be down for Dooku because I am actually a fan of Dooku's.
I love Dooku.
I know a lot of people don't. I'm a huge Dooku guy. But then it'd be tough. You could do it though. I mean, you could do anything you want, really.
Yeah.
Realistically, 3. Who do you got?
Ezra Bridger. Ezra Bridger. We don't know that he's dead. He could still be alive in canon, but we
don't even know if he's a Jedi.
True. The way they describe it, and I've heard Filoni talk about it, is he has had a trial, and I forget what his trial was.
Do you think he's Snoke?
No, not even. No way. Ezra, but Ezra. Here's the thing, though. The only thing that makes that connection even remotely possible is how strong Ezra is.
And he's got the perfect cut on his cheek.
Oh my God, you're right. Confirmed.
Yep, confirmed. Actually, you know what? The first season of Rebels, season 3 Rebels, I watched it. And while I'm watching, I was like, oh my God, I have a Snoke theory for Ezra. But I didn't write it down. And I to this day cannot remember what it was.
Nice.
And we did the podcast like the next day. I'm like, Brock, I gotta mention this because it's gold. Cannot remember a single thing about it, but it was like I pieced Kanan in there, and it was like this whole I had this whole plot about how Ezra and Snoke are the same person, and I failed miserably at remembering what it was. I would like to see more Ezra. My 3. Well, now I'm gonna go with Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Like I said, now it's just getting easy. You could probably figure it out from here. He makes so much sense. We heard his voice. Ewan McGregor wants it. Now, the trick is you have to make Ewan McGregor look like Alec Guinness.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they're waiting. They're like, can you just go to Florida a couple more times?
Yeah.
Get a little older.
Yeah, your hair is not turning gray fast enough. You got to get this. You?
Well, we'd go to 2, right? Because I think my 3 was Ezra, right?
Yeah, 2.
My 2 would be Ahsoka Tano, and I know I'm not going with the ones we were just talking about, but obviously it wouldn't necessarily work with Ahsoka. She didn't have that training, but here's the thing: if she's still alive, she could get that training.
It's true, and we don't know because Dave Filoni wore a shirt that said
exactly
question mark.
Exclamation point.
That was sneaky. I didn't see that live when I
didn't see it live either. Yep.
Yeah, I saw it after. People are quick on that.
Yep.
My number 2 would be Yoda.
Yoda.
Or Yaddle. You know what? Yaddle.
Yes.
Yaddle makes the list. It would be Yoda because Yoda, again, he's... and you know what? Actually, and everyone, it's easy to say Yoda, but where is Yoda's mindset at this point? Because now he's seen the rise and fall. Maybe he's Snoke. He's seen the rise and fall of the Empire, right? He lived after the Empire and kind of perhaps he saw that the Jedi Order is now what it should be, and he knows what Luke knows. And Yoda, being as wise as he is, does he stick to his guns and say, no, the Jedi are right? Or is he, Luke, you know what's going on?
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's one of the things I really want to know is what's going on with these Force ghosts. I mean, are they zen about this? Are they just like, yeah, no, it's okay, Snoke, no big deal? I doubt it, right? He's got to represent this thing that is bad. So
maybe there are no Force ghosts because Snoke has sucked them.
I thought about that. What if him coming into our galaxy has eliminated the possibility of the Force ghosts? I mean, if they are from the cosmic Force through the teachings of the shaman, and he is somehow corrupting that, could be possible.
Yeah, that's a huge possibility. I'll just go with my number 1 because it's Anakin Skywalker.
Yes.
While we talked, I convinced myself that I want him to be the answer to everything. He is the chosen one. He is the true chosen one. He is the rightful chosen one. And I want him to be the reason this new trilogy needs to take place.
Yes. That's my number 1 would probably be Anakin too. But actually, as we were thinking about this, the real number 1 that I want is Tar Vizsla. I want to know, dude, the first Mandalorian Jedi. If we could get the first Mandalorian Jedi to come back as a Force ghost, wow. That would just be awesome.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Well, if Snoke has that black kyber crystal and that has a connection to Mandalore, the doors are opening up. Oh, man. I really think that we're going to be getting an animated film based on Mandalore. Although this whole season of Rebels looks like it might be that. So
right.
Maybe they're not going to do a TV series. But someone brought up a Netflix show that took the Mandalorian Wars or something would be.
Yes. Oh, like Game of Thrones style. Oh, it'd be so cool.
Yeah, there's so many different avenues for them to go. Force ghosts are coming to Star Wars. Tusken Raider ghosts are coming to Star Wars also.
Why not?
The ones that Anakin slaughtered, they're all
yes,
coming
I know,
back.
right?
Josh, this was a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
Where can everybody find you at?
You guys can find me at the Den of Nerds. And real quick, I want to do a shameless plug, and you'll probably edit it out because it's so shameless. But I have a Kickstarter going on right now for a comic book. It's a cyberpunk Robin Hood. Go check it out. And also, there is a video on the Kickstarter page where I talk about where I got the idea for a cyberpunk Robin Hood. And of course, Star Wars played a big role in that. So if you like Star Wars and science fiction, you might check it out.
Yeah, check out the Instagram page for it as well because the artwork looks amazing on that. Yes. I can't wait to get my hands on a copy.
Yeah, Stephen Millage, man. We got a good team. I'm excited about it.
It looks awesome. I cannot wait. You can find me at Petsafina. You can even play me at Battlefront on PS4 at Petsafina, where you can always beat me because I am so awful. So if you want your stats to boost, play me at Battlefront on the PS4. That's all. May the force of others be with you.
Always.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.